गैस होना।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Today we're talking about an interesting event that occurred. Officially, the United States Department of State, which is their foreign ministry, has announced that the National Resistance Front is a terrorist organization. They have not named Pakistan. They have called it a sponsor of terrorism, a global terrorist organization. I'm told that the actual date of the statement was 2nd July, but it's been released 2 weeks later. It was at a time when our Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, was in the United States for a meeting of Quad foreign ministers. So the timing becomes very, very interesting. It means that there is collaboration and partnership between the security agencies of India and the United States. Now, as far as McDonald Trump, I refer to him affectionately, is concerned, I would urge you to read his book in 1984, The Art of the Deal. He delights in keeping the people he's talking to off guard. He'll say one thing now, he'll probably turn around and say Ambassador Deepak Vohra is a delightful guy. A couple of hours later, he said, I don't want to ever see him again. He's a useless fellow. Now, he does this very deliberately. What is happening, as far as I can see, that he has led Pakistan up the garden path. He might not have named him, but he has mentioned, or the United States has mentioned, that this organization is not something that we are comfortable with. And we all know that it's linked to the Lashkar-e-Taiba. It's actually old wine in new bottles. What is going
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hi there, welcome to this Sunday edition of This Is Exclusive, in which we are going to bring to you the fight for survival of a Michelin-starred Indian restaurant in the heart of London, in Soho, and how they are trying to salvage a legacy of not just their food, but of British-Indian relations going back a century or more. Perhaps it's the oldest Indian restaurant outside of the country, and or Indian cuisine restaurant outside of India, and their fight for survival is worth taking a look at. That's our focus, as also, of course, bringing to you latest on what's happening on the encounter front in Jammu and Kashmir. A big catch there, it seems the security agencies have got. That's our focus. Number 2, let's begin with the headlines. British culinary legend Veeraswamy fighting for its beloved home, Michelin-starred, on the verge of closing. Outrage after African-British man eats chicken inside ISKCON's veg restaurant in London.
Can we see some move from the government in the first week of parliament session on removal of Justice Verma?
The signature is underway and it has crossed 100 already.
Impeachment motion against Justice Verma to be moved in Parliament. Rijiju says the MPs have signed the motion for the process. China provokes again, begins construction of $167 billion mega dam on Brahmaputra. Encounter underway in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar. 2 senior Hizbul commanders trapped in the encounter. All right, let's begin with this encounter that's been going on between security forces and terrorists in Kishtwar. Reports coming in that the agencies have zeroed in and trapped 2 senior Hizbul Mujahideen commanders identified as Riaz Ahmed and Mudassir Hussain. They're both trapped and the agencies are closing in. The security forces are closing in on them. Both carry rupees 10 lakh award on them. And for more details on this, let's go to Gursimran. He's joining us live from Jammu. These are pictures of these 2 terrorists who are trapped. And Gursimran, if you are getting me, first tell us, these terrorists, are they Pakistani origin terrorists? Second, where exactly is this encounter taking place, and how close the security forces are to getting these 2 terrorists?
See, Abhishek, if we first speak of these 2 terrorists who have been trapped, these are the Hizbul Mujahideen commanders, A++ category. They have been designated after 2 major killings they have carried out. First killing was of Ajit and Anil Parihar, 2 brothers of the Bharatiya Janata Party, 2 leaders. They were shot dead in the month of November 2020. It was 2018 when they were shot dead. Important to mention that daughter of Anil Parihar, Shagun Parihar, is now the BJP MLA from the Kishtwar, and the second terror attack that they carried out, it was in the April month of 2019 when they killed the RSS activist Chandrakant in a broad daylight in Kishtwar District Hospital, and then they fled away from the spot. Since then, since April 2018, there were no whereabouts about these terrorists, though there were some inputs that were being worked upon, but never it had happened that a contact was established. But now, after 6 years, the first contact has been established. We are told that this is in the upper reaches of the Nagsani area that connects with the Dachan. This area, to be very precise, where the encounter has started early this afternoon. It was around 3:30, 3:45 when the first exchange of fire has taken place. Now, officials in the Jammu and Kashmir Police as well as the Indian Army are confirming to us that there have been 2 rounds of exchange of fire, after which there has been a lull that is prevailing, but the forces on ground have been asked to go full throttle against these terrorists, to hunt them, to chase them down and neutralize them. Because see, this is a big catch for the security forces. Reason being that this group was nowhere to be seen in last 6 years, and now they have surfaced. This group is a local group. These both terrorists are locals, because you remember that whenever the data comes that majority of the terrorists are Pakistani, only 3 names surface of local terrorists. First is the Saruri, Jahangir Saruri, who is the longest surviving terrorist of Hizbul Mujahideen in Jammu and Kashmir. He also operates along with this group, but yesterday the input that was generated by the security forces, that finds no mention of Jahangir Saruri. It was only Riaz and Mudassir that were intercepted and the operation was launched. Now the forces are trying to neutralize this, because with the killing of these 2, the active cadre of the Hizbul Mujahideen will be wiped out, because their age is somewhere close to 20, 30, 35. And the other one, that is Jahangir Saruri, who is the senior most commander, he's in late 60s. So now the forces are putting their full focus to neutralize this group, because this group, this is a perpetrator of the killing of the sitting BJP MLA Shagun Parihar's father, Anil Parihar, along with her uncle Ajit Parihar in 2018, Abhishek.
Gursimran, that's a big one. It seems that the security agencies have finally got to lay their hands on. Please tell us, some of these terror acts in which these terrorists were involved. You mentioned about the Parihar case, senior BJP leader. What are the cases in which these terrorists were involved?
See, Abhishek, what had happened that at the time of the Parihar killing, they were not in the list of the terrorists, but it was the first act of terror they carried out with the local terrorist named Osama, who was later killed in an encounter in the area of Batot in the Doda district by the security forces. But these two, they too escaped like anything, though there were some chatters that were picked up by the security forces that they were also in touch with the Jaish group that have come from Pakistan, but that was not established because they never met those groups, though there were some communications that were picked up by the security forces. The attacks that you have mentioned, first was the Parihar brothers when they were killed in the Kishtwar district. It was in the evening when they were going out in the market. They were shot dead by the terrorist of Hizbul Mujahideen. Then the second act they carried out, it was in the next years, that is in the April 2019, when they killed the RSS activist Chandrakant at the district hospital in the Kishtwar district along with his PSO, and they decamped from there along with the weapon, though the security forces launched a massive manhunt. But these terrorists, they were out of radar for 6 long years, and now they have been intercepted. The security forces are saying this is a major success because they have been cordoned in. Now the Assam Rifles along with the Indian Army's local units that are operating in the area, Jammu and Kashmir Police Special Operations Group and the CRPF, all are part of these operations that have been launched, and now we are told that the senior officials are also heading to the operation site in the Chirji area of the Nagseni Dachan area. The operations are very important and specifically this one because their target have always been the BJP leaders and the RSS activists that are active in the district of Kishtwar.
Gursimran, just before I let you go, please tell us, given the kind of the number of terror attacks these people were involved, the fact that they have rupees 10 lakh reward on their head, the fact that they were evading agencies for all these years and carrying out those acts with impunity, how much of Hizbul Mujahideen would be taken down? How many of its cadres would become ineffective if these two terrorists hold up now in this encounter and cornered are going to be taken down?
Abhishek, if we speak by the books, in the Jammu region, there are only 3 terrorists of Hizbul Mujahideen that are active, and the books reads that it is the Jahangir Saruri, the longest surviving terrorist, who is in his late 60s. So technically he is ineffective. He can only be in the conspiracy part. He cannot be the one who can actually execute the terror attacks. The other 2 names are Riaz and Mudassir, because they are the one who are actually running this Hizbul Mujahideen in the Jammu region, because their chatters have been picked with the other terror groups also. They have been active. They have been running from one house to another house because their activities have been reported to the security forces in last 6 years, but they were never intercepted. This time they have been intercepted, and if they are eliminated in this operation, then it will be, if you can say that the Hizbul Mujahideen is technically wiped out, it will not be wrong, because until and unless there are more recruitments to the Hizbul Mujahideen in the Jammu region, Jahangir Saruri is completely ineffective as per the officials we have spoken to in last couple of years, especially after his movement was picked in the upper areas close to his home, and they said that he is ineffective. He can only be part of some conspiracies, but he cannot be anymore an executioner. But when it comes to Riaz and Mudassir, they are the young ones, the young lords Hizbul is actually relying upon, and with the elimination of these two, if it happens in this encounter, it is going to be one of the major successes Jammu and Kashmir is looking, because with this the Hizbul cadre will be wiped out completely, and this will be another major success, because last month we saw that the senior most commander of Jaish-e-Mohammed, Molvi alias Jabbar, who was active here for more than 4 years, he was neutralized in the Dudu Basantgarh encounter on 25th of June. Abhishek.
All right. Thank you so much, Gursimran, with those details about this ongoing encounter in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar, where these two Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists are holed up now and cornered by security agencies, and most likely they would be eliminated, and that would be a big setback for Hizbul Mujahideen operations in the Union Territory. Moving on for now, and to an interesting development taking place in London. Veeraswamy is a legend in British culinary history, now fighting to stay put. The legal case between the restaurant and the Crown Estate hinges on the latter refusing to extend the lease where Veeraswamy operates. The Michelin-starred restaurant has received a mail from the Crown Estate emphasizing that it could not extend its lease beyond June. As the Crown Estate declines to extend the lease, its co-owner Ranjit Mathrani has approached a court. Legal decision next year will determine if this nearly 100-year-old restaurant stays or relocates. So let's look at the facts, and then one of those owners would come with us and have a conversation on the other side. Take a look.
Veeraswamy, a landmark of India and United Kingdom's shared cultural history. From Jawaharlal Nehru to Sarojini Naidu, from stars like Charlie Chaplin to royalty like Prince of Wales, all have visited Veeraswamy in London. It's not just one of the oldest Indian restaurants in the United Kingdom, but probably one of the best too, since it's a Michelin-star restaurant. While Veeraswamy is set to celebrate its 100th anniversary next year, the Crown Estate, a public body which manages the lands belonging to the British Crown, have decided to not renew the lease of the restaurant. The Crown Estate is claiming that they need Veeraswamy's ground floor entrance, leaving the restaurant without any access and hence forcing it to close down. The iconic restaurant has approached the court. However, any relief from the court is a far-fetched outcome so far. In the meantime, the restaurant is offering to pay extra rent and has come up with an alternative solution, but the Crown Estate hasn't agreed. Veeraswamy's owners term the action against it as cultural vandalism and are surprised by the hesitance of the Crown Estate to come to any understanding with a restaurant with such a long legacy. They only hope public support and government intervention. While a petition to protect this cultural relic has amassed 17,000 signatures in London so far, will this be enough, or should the Indian government too step in for UK's oldest Indian restaurant?
All right, Camellia Punjabi, Group Director of Veeraswamy, joins us live from London. Very good evening to you, ma'am, and thanks for joining us. First up, the kind of legacy, it's not just about the culinary legacy, I think it's a piece of history, this restaurant. And have you not been able to communicate that aspect very well to the authorities there, because of which this is happening?
I think it's been very well communicated to the authorities. We have written to the Crown Estate many times. We have given options. There has been huge media coverage in Britain, in all the leading newspapers, on BBC Evening News, on ITV News. So everybody is aware. The symbolism of Veeraswamy goes much beyond.
I think we lost the line there with Miss Punjabi, and we'll try and reconnect. This is essentially, she was talking about the dialogue that's happening. All right, she's back. Yes, continue, ma'am. We lost your line there briefly. Please come.
At the same time.
Go ahead.
Yeah, start. Yeah. So, Veeraswamy is not just a restaurant, it's a cultural institution. It was patronized by royalty both from the West and from India, by politicians, by intellectuals, by famous actors, and people who just loved India and Indian food. It was the place where the discussions took place for the freedom of India during colonial rule. It was open through the World War II, through the Depression, through the period of rationing. It has played its part in British history. And it is such a symbol of Indo-British cooperation. You know, the location of Veeraswamy is interesting.
Yeah.
It's situated on the mezzanine floor. It overlooks the Grand Regent Street, but the entrance is from a small alleyway on the side. A few years ago, the Crown Estate, the landlord, asked us to make a separate entrance and gave us this 11 square meters. Now suddenly they've decided they want the 11 square meters back. And for what reason? Because they want to have a bigger reception area in the place next door. Now, do you really think that a bigger reception is a reason for terminating a 100-year-old restaurant?
Just to understand, Ms. Punjabi, since you mentioned that this 11 square meter was given to you some time back, can you not revert to the earlier arrangement? Because it seems that the restaurant really worked without this 11 square meters for quite some time.
You're quite right. We made this offer. We have made other offers that in case they rent, they...
I think again some network issue there. Can we connect again and get back to the conversation? Interesting bit about the legacy of a Veeraswamy restaurant, India's oldest restaurant in London. Okay, she's back. Go ahead, ma'am. Okay. I think we lost the line there again. We'll try and connect once more if we can. And okay. So if you're back, ma'am, if you're getting me, what are the options that you have given to the authorities so that some way could be found out of this without actually getting the restaurant to shut?
Well, we have asked them for a separate entrance cut off from a shop that they also own next door. We have offered to pay them a higher rent to compensate them for the fact that they will have a smaller reception. We have suggested they could move the reception to the first floor, which is very common in London. And we have even suggested that out of the 11 square meters, we will return them a part of the space, but retain just enough to have our...
Okay, I think we lost her there again. I think we'll move on because there seems to be some issue with the connectivity. It's an interesting conversation. It's a legacy of not just food in London or Indian food in London, but about the entire India, or some aspect at least of India-United Kingdom relationship. And with the kind of clientele that has been there from the likes of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Sarojini Naidu to stars like Charlie Chaplin, Vivian Leigh, King Hussein of Jordan, King Christian X of Denmark, Prince of Wales, all those big names. But at this hour, at least, it seems the bureaucracy getting the better of everyone. All right, moving on for now. A 15-year-old girl was set on fire by 3 miscreants in Odisha's Puri district earlier today. She was airlifted to AIIMS Delhi, where she's receiving treatment, but her condition continues to remain critical. Remember, this is second instance in a week of a girl student facing this kind of situation. In the first one, that was a case of self-immolation. In this case, 3 assailants actually reporting her on fire. Let's try to understand what's the case about why these things happening in Odisha so often. Shambhavi, in fact, joins us live from outside AIIMS, Delhi. Shambhavi, first up, what's the situation of the victim? Is she critical, or if you have spoken to the doctors, are they suggesting that they would be able to save her?
Yes, she continues to remain in the ICU right now, but her condition is stable. And we are receiving reports that she will recover very soon. 100% recovery is guaranteed.
All right. Thank you so much, Shambhavi. But I hope you will continue to keep close track of the developments there on this front. And we, of course, make sure that the assailants there in Odisha are arrested, and the focus remains on this story so that the police is on its toes. A second instance in Odisha of a girl student being targeted. Moving on to another story. China had formally started, or has formally started, the construction of a 167 billion dam over the Brahmaputra River in Tibet, close to the Indian border in Arunachal Pradesh. Chinese premier announced that the start of the construction of the dam at a groundbreaking ceremony in the lower reaches of the Brahmaputra River. The groundbreaking ceremony took place at the dam site of Hyderabad station, and this can potentially cause issues with the Brahmaputra downstream, and hence in India, particularly the state of Assam, even Bangladesh. So let's try to understand what this means. Brahma Chelani, strategic affairs expert, someone who's an expert on Brahmaputra basin. He's written books on this subject, joins us live. Thank you so much, Mr. Chelani, for joining us at such a short notice. We much appreciate that. You would have seen this development of the announcement, of course, of the dam had come much earlier, but the groundbreaking ceremony happened last evening, and reports have come in. Your first take on how seriously we should be looking at this development from India?
For over 2 decades, China has been engaged in an aggressive and opaque dam building spree centered on the Tibetan plateau. Yet, China's government has refused to negotiate a water-sharing treaty with any of its downstream neighbors. China has a dozen downstream neighbors. Not even with one of them has it negotiated a water-sharing treaty. Instead, it has focused on building dams right in its borderlands, just before international rivers flow into the territories of neighboring countries. By contrast, India has water-sharing treaties with both countries located downstream to it, Pakistan and Bangladesh. In fact, the only water-sharing treaties in Asia are the ones that India has signed. But I think the focus needs to be on China's aggressive dam building spree. As we all know, the Three Gorges Dam is currently the world's largest dam. But that dam, the Three Gorges Dam, will be dwarfed by the super dam China is now building right on the India border. And it's building that super dam in a seismically active area, in an area that is prone to earthquakes. This is the area where the Indian plate collides with the Eurasian plate. So this area, this zone, often is racked by earthquakes. In fact, this year's devastating earthquake in Myanmar was also the result of this collision between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. And the fault line is very much in the area where the dam, the super dam, is being built.
Yeah, Mr. Chelani, then what are the options available to us? We have seen our leaders from Pema Khandu of Arunachal Pradesh, the chief minister there, raise concerns. We have seen Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma raise concerns. In fact, Ministry of External Affairs also has made a statement expressing the possible environmental side effects of this on India and in the geography in general. What more can be done or should be done to make sure that, as you were explaining, this is a seismically active zone with the Indian and the Eurasian plates meeting there. Can we really stop China from doing it, or can we just focus on some containment?
I think it's very important to first spotlight what China is doing, which we are not doing. We are not spotlighting China's aggressive dam building activity right on India's border. This has important implications for the safety of our own people. For example, this super dam is a potential ticking water bomb. If it were to collapse, not just thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people in the Assam plains would die. So India is going to be affected ecologically in terms of potential dam collapse, in terms of disruption of water flows downstream into India and Bangladesh. If India does not speak up, who else will speak up? We need to spotlight what China is doing. That's the first thing that we need to do. We need to shame China by highlighting what it is doing unilaterally with no transparency. This kind of opaque dam building right on India's frontier, and in a way that actually increases the risks for millions of people downstream.
I mean, Mr. Chilani, for that we will need to get really aggressive, and it sort of does not go with the present zeitgeist, so to say, of toning down of rhetoric between both the sides.
Well, if we don't speak up, then we will allow China to have its cake and eat it too. That's the reason why during Operation Sindoor,
right,
China was the third party in the conflict. It was providing real-time satellite reconnaissance data and other intelligence to Pakistan so that Pakistan could actually target Indian military sites. So if we don't speak up, it allows China to continue to be belligerent, to act in a way that is detrimental to India's interests. In fact, it continues to act in a way that actually directly impinges on India's vital interests.
Right, absolutely, and that's why I think that's why I think we really need to focus a little more aggressively on this, and as you rightly mentioned, spotlight China's dam building activity, particularly the ones in the seismic zones with potential effects for not just China but for its neighborhood also. I've run out of time, and that's why I'm ending this conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Chilani, for joining us and giving those insights into a potentially dangerous development taking place in India's northeast, with China building that dam, bigger one, or perhaps the biggest one in the world, even bigger than the Three Gorges Dam. On that note, friends, we have come to the end of this bulletin. This is what all we could pack in these 30 minutes. A short break. On the other side, get me right.
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH
This morning, 2 a.m. in Los Angeles, our firefighters were dispatched out to a traffic accident. On arrival, they found a large group of people standing outside of a club. There's a taco truck there, and apparently a vehicle had driven through the taco truck, through the valet, and into the crowd.
Oh yeah, he went to get the cars.
Hi there, welcome back to your favorite deep dive show on stories contemporary and consequential for India. This week I bring to you three. One from the domestic front, one from our neighborhood, and one international with some important takeaways for us in India. First, we take a look at why Punjab is all set to become the first state in the country to have a blasphemy law. Are we heading into a dangerous territory with the proposed statute? The history of Punjab's tryst with blasphemy over the last decade, and more. Second, has Donald Trump finally lost patience with Vladimir Putin? If yes, what are going to be its consequences in Europe? Are we already facing a ricochet? Do we have a foreign policy challenge to handle? And third, did Pakistan dupe the International Monetary Fund with a sugar scam? Is the fund's diversion proof that Pakistan is hoodwinking the world? Let's get going.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ हे ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀਓ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਅੱਜ ਦਾਸਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਹਰ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਆਪ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਇਸ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਸਦਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਿਧਾਨ ਸਭਾ ਦੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨ ਤੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਮਤਦਾਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਦਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਘੜਨ ਲਈ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ
These pictures are from Monday when the Punjab Assembly met to discuss a new bill on blasphemy or sacrilege or beadbi as it is called there, making Punjab the first state in the country to have a specific anti-blasphemy law. Called the Prevention of Offences Against Holy Scriptures Bill 2025, the proposed law slaps a stiff rupees 10 lakh fine and life in jail on conviction for the acts that amount to blasphemy for any religion. The offences shall be cognizable, non-bailable and non-compoundable and would only be tried at Sessions Court level. While there's a provision for punishing similar acts that attack or lower the dignity of any religion in the National Criminal Law, both in the present Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and its earlier avatar, the Indian Penal Code, the Punjab government of Bhagwant Mann thought the punishment specified was not stringent enough. Hence, the bill provides for a minimum of 10 years of jail term and a maximum of life on conviction against the BNS's provision of 3 years and 7 years respectively. In fact, it's not just the Mann government of the Aam Aadmi Party. There's a consensus cutting across the political divide that the state should have this law. Punjab's politics has revolved around the issue of blasphemy and sacrilege for a good decade now. The Shiromani Akali Dal or SAD and the BJP coalition government had sought to bring a similar law in 2016, seeking to amend the then Indian Penal Code, specific to Punjab. The draft bill, however, did not pass the muster with the Union Law Ministry, given it singled out one religion, Sikhism. Subsequently, the Captain Amrinder Singh government also brought a similar legislation amending the Akali draft to include other religions. Even this lapsed, and the Captain government made way for the AAP-led Mann government. In the backdrop of this legal scramble was an incident reported from Bargari town of Faridkot district in October of 2015, in which torn pages from the Guru Granth Sahib were found strewn around fields and floating in a canal. In Sikhism, the Granth Sahib is not just a scripture, not just the embodiment of the teachings of the faith, but is considered the living Guru. The pages are considered parts of the Guru's body, or angs. And so the Bargari sacrilege hit a raw nerve. Protests erupted and police action led to the death of 2 Sikh youth. The accused were found to have connections with a sect called Dera Sacha Sauda of Gurmeet Ram Rahim, a self-styled guru with influence in Haryana, Punjab and parts of western Uttar Pradesh. But he is now serving a jail term in connection with a murder and rape case. I don't want to digress. Just to give you a measure of how strong the sentiments are in Punjab on the issue of sacrilege or beadbi. One of the accused was assassinated inside jail by 2 prisoners. Another was shot dead outside by the Goldie Brar gang. And a third accused had his father killed while he serves a jail term. Essentially, because of the nature of Granth Sahib's treatment as the living embodiment of the Guru for the Sikhs, the tolerance towards sacrilege is very low. Not for nothing that at 7 times higher than the national average, Punjab sits on top in terms of registered blasphemy or sacrilege cases in the country. In many instances, reports of sacrilege have led to mob lynchings of the accused, with the Sikh clergy of the SGPC or the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee even honoring the vigilantes. During the farm protests, for example, on the outskirts of Delhi in 2021, a Dalit Sikh youth identified as Lakhbir Singh was lynched by Nihangs on suspicion of sacrilege. His body hung from a barricade at the protest site of Singhu border. The 3 Nihangs were honored with saropas. Punjab politics in the last decade has had the blasphemy overhang over both the 2017 and 2022 assembly elections. Both elections turned anti-incumbent, with the Sukhbir government giving way to the Captain Amrinder Singh government and the Captain's government passing on to the present Aam Aadmi Party government. Both Sukhbir Singh Badal and Captain were seen as ineffective in dealing with the issue. For the historical Akali links with the SGPC, Sukhbir, in fact, has faced additional brunt to the extent of getting excommunicated from the faith. These pictures are from the day-long punishment for the former Chief Minister of Punjab at the Akal Takht inside the Golden Temple last year, when even an attempt on his life was made. Sukhbir had sent the case to the CBI hoping that would get the monkey off his back. But it did not pacify the sentiments. The Captain government brought the investigation back, set up 2 or 3 SITs and made some arrests, but never could recover from inertia of early days in government on the issue. So far, so good. Sentiments need respected. Democracy is about greater common good, and taking care of the spiritual commons is part of the exercise. But as they say, road to hell is paved with good intentions. We cannot lose sight of the special history of Punjab and its unfortunate run-in with religion-based politics. It is a border state with an ongoing and entrenched Pakistani project to disturb the delicate communal peace. One of the accused of the Bargari case was killed by sharpshooters hired by Goldie Brar, who we know is Canada-based these days, and along with other gangs connected to the Khalistan project of the ISI. In the last 2 years, Punjab has seen at least a dozen odd cases, if not more, of murder, extortion, communal incitement, with the investigations unraveling linkages to the same Pakistan, Khalistan, ISI machinations. And since it's about Pakistan, we need not look further to understand what an unwise blasphemy act can do. Pakistan got its own during the General Zia era that led to Pakistan to a spiral of radicalism and extremism that has made it the world capital of blasphemy cases and blasphemy-related lynchings. On Monday, when the speaker rose for that ardas in Punjab Assembly, only to forget that the legislators were in shoes and the heads were not covered, he had to apologize. And the next day, the House did the ardas again, this time with the prayer protocol in place.
अरदास करिए और अपने सिर ढक लो और जूते भी उतार लो.
It is almost as if the lawmakers are in a stupor, gripped with some fear. The bill has been sent to a select committee for a comprehensive vetting. This seems like a good move and an opportunity to put the blasphemy law to a rigorous test of reasonableness. We sure don't want our Punjab to go the Pakistan way. Moving on.
We will send them patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it. Well, we're going to see what happens with President Putin. So far, I've been very disappointed with President Putin. I've solved a lot of wars in the last 3 months, but I haven't gotten this one yet. This is a Biden war. It's not a Trump war. I'm here to try and get us out of that mess.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there.
This is Donald Trump clearly running out of patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin. And like in all things Trump, he does not mince words. He's unsatisfied, he's unhappy, and perhaps under his necktie, a little itching to have a go at Putin. The reason for this frustration is Trump having made it a prestige issue to end the war in Europe. His entire campaign was about ending the war on day one of his presidency. We are already in month 6, and there are no signs of the end of Putin's war in Ukraine. If anything, last month marked a peak in the intensity of the conflict, with both sides launching major drone and missile campaigns against each other. Let's play some earlier sound bites of Trump on Putin for contrast.
Vladimir Putin made some very nice statements today. Look, he respects our country again. He didn't respect it a year ago, I can tell you right now. He actually was very nice. He volunteered help on, as you know, on Iran. I said, no, I don't need help on Iran. I need help on Russia. Okay? I said, do me a favor. Help us on Russia, not on Iran. But he was very nice. I've had very good talks with Putin, and I've had not such good talks with Ukraine. They don't have any cards, but they play it tough. Getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. If Putin likes me, and if he thinks I'm a good, smart person, which I mean, I hope he believes it. I am. Actually, he's right. I am brilliant. You know that, right? But you know what? If he says something positive, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. They try and turn it around, and it's not to be turned around. This is good. This would be a great start.
Now you know from where this frustration is coming. Having tried in right earnest and in good faith to get Putin and Zelensky to pull back from the war, Trump is not liking that the duo have made a mockery of his art of the deal. Ultimately, it's Europe's war, of Europe's choosing. Remember, there's a deep, deep state not interested in having a peaceful relationship with Moscow. They need a villain to keep up the military budgets, to keep up the expansion of NATO. In earlier episodes, I have brought to you how a visceral hate for Putin guides most of the Western elites. Trump has been an exception, and perhaps that's why he's failing. It is in this backdrop that Trump had a little subdued stance on NATO this week. It was with the NATO chief Mark Rutte by his side that Trump launched that salvo at Putin.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there.
America has agreed to supply Patriot missile systems to Ukraine, paid for by NATO. Reports even suggested that Trump asked Zelensky if he could hit Moscow if the Americans provided enough firepower. This reportedly happened during a July 4 phone call between the two, a day after Trump had had a 90-minute phone call with Putin and had failed to get the Russian president to make any concessions. What's in it for us, as I always ask? Immediately after coming out of that meeting with Trump, Mark Rutte fired a fresh salvo on BRICS. but his singling out of India was a first from a European leader. Listen to him.
If Russia is not serious about peace talks, within 50 days he will slam secondary sanctions on countries like India, China and Brazil. So my encouragement to these three countries particularly is, if you live now in Beijing or in Delhi, or you are the president of Brazil, you might want to take a look into this, because this might hit you very hard. So please make the phone call to Vladimir Putin and tell him that he has to get serious about peace talks, because otherwise this will slam back on Brazil, on India and on China.
What Rutte is saying in diplomacy amounts to a threat. He's asking India or Prime Minister Modi to be specific, to pick up the phone and tell Putin to back off in Ukraine. Equal parts foolish and preposterous, but also a measure of how run out of ideas the West has become in responding to Russia. In their hearts, they know all the Patriot missiles and other weapon systems are not going to turn the tide of war in favor of Ukraine. Still, they want to persist, and in doing so, they are willing to embroil India in the mess. The Rutte comment was strong enough to get an Indian response.
Securing energy needs of our people is understandably an overriding priority for us. In this endeavor, we are guided by what is there on offer in the markets, as also by the prevailing global circumstances. We would particularly caution against any double standards on the matter.
This tough talk notwithstanding, situation is building up in DC. The manner in which Senator Lindsey Graham, for example, a known India baiter on the Capitol, has been pushing for a bill that would impose 500% tariffs and other sanctions on nations doing business with Moscow is part of the continuum. And Lindsey Graham is seconded by Trump.
Well, I know the bill. I've studied the bill. We're going to see. I mean, if I think Russia will not be making a deal or stopping the bloodshed, 5 and 6 even, I've been saying 5 and 6 and now it's more, 1,000 a week soldiers being killed, and people being killed, not just soldiers, people being killed, but largely soldiers being killed. Yeah, I'd use it if it's necessary. And they've really given me that option.
Are you trying to get the Senate to water it down, though?
No, I haven't spoken to them about it. They have a bill that's going to be up to me. It's my option. They've made it that way. And it would save a lot of time if that happened. So I'm okay with it. I haven't decided to use it. It's a very strong bill.
Trump is likely to even oblige Pakistan with a visit, according to many Pakistani media reports that emerged this week. If that happens, it would be a first in over 2 decades that an American president would be visiting Islamabad. We are in a pincer. The Modi government's lofty objective of strategic autonomy comes with challenges to surmount. The present scenario is the best example of that. China suspects we are getting too close to their rival, United States. America thinks we are not doing enough with them to contain China. Europe is annoyed that New Delhi's oil purchases from Russia are part bankrolling Putin's war. But that's a small price to pay if we see the long-term benefits of this autonomy. It is easy to be a Pakistan, to loan your sovereignty, to compromise financial dignity, to let China run your foreign office from behind the curtains, to let America occasionally bomb your mountains, to let IMF and World Bank give you debt with the strings attached. India has chosen the difficult path, and we need to stay the course. That brings me to the last segment. How Pakistan is hoodwinking the world community yet again, specifically Donald Trump.
आज के समय में पाकिस्तान को किसी भी तरह की आर्थिक सहायता टेरर फंडिंग से कम नहीं है। भारत यही चाहेगा कि आईएमएफ पाकिस्तान को अपनी $1 बिलियन की असिस्टेंस पर वह पुनर्विचार करे और आगे भी किसी भी तरह की सहायता देने से आईएमएफ परहेज करे।
This was Defense Minister Rajnath Singh taking a tough position against International Monetary Fund's bailout of Pakistan right in the middle of India's Operation Sindoor in the month of May. Pakistan Terror Factory had carried out the most dastardly and diabolical terrorist strike in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir on April 22. India hit back on May 6-7. As if to rub salt to the wounds, the IMF sanctioned a tranche of $2.3 billion loan to Islamabad on May 10 amid the ongoing standoff. While this was part of an already approved loan of $7 billion in 2024, the fact that it came when India was telling the world we were victims of terror showed how callous the powers behind IMF were being. Now it so emerges that what Rajnath Singh said was 100% true, that Pakistan has been nonchalantly diverting funds meant for stabilizing its economy to splurge on its army, terror organizations, and in the latest instance, even to buy sugar it cannot afford. Look at this joker country. Early this year, the Pakistan government let 700,000 plus metric tons of sugar be exported. That led to a shortfall in supplies, with sugar prices shooting the roof and selling for rupees 200 a kilo. For perspective, in India, it ranges between rupees 40 to 50 a kilo. Accounting for currency exchange rate, this should still mean rupees 80 to 100 in Pakistan. But it's at double the price. Do you see a scam? Let me explain. So the sugar shortfall was artificially created by Pakistan deciding to export. Obviously, someone took a cut. When prices rose, Pakistan government did an about turn. A decision was taken to import sugar now. Imagine, after having exported 700,000 plus metric ton sugar early this year, now Pakistan issued a tender to import 500,000 metric tons of the same commodity. Not only that, but the government decided to waive all import duties so that people could get cheaper price point. That's where the IMF comes into the picture. One of the conditions imposed during the May bailout was that Pakistan was barred from non-program utilization of funds. Import of sugar amounts to just that. Moreover, the duties waiver is against the conditions imposed to maintain fiscal discipline. IMF financing was aimed at helping Pakistan tide over its balance of payments situation. The IMF disbursements go to Pakistan's central bank and not to the government. The central bank cannot loan a single penny from the IMF funds to the Pakistani government. Obviously, IMF objected, in response to which Pakistan reduced the import volume from original 500,000 to just 50,000 tons this week, thus directly admitting to the breach. Which means that someone in Pakistan is doing this jugglery of funds, siphoning from central bank, giving it to the government, or channelizing to some other accounts. There's for sure a scam. Recently, when the Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, reviewed Pakistan's money laundering status, it was found that every year that it has taken loans from either the IMF or the World Bank between 1980 to 2023, Pakistan's defense purchases have spiked by up to 20%, thus clearly connecting financial aid with funds diversion. This is important in the light of what I said in the earlier segment. The reports that President Trump might be making a pit stop in Islamabad later this year could be directly connected with this funds diversion. Remember how in earlier episodes we have shown linkages between Trump family-run crypto business via the firm World Liberty Financial and Pakistan's recent moves to become a safe haven for these unstable digital assets. If Trump goes to Pakistan, then it would be indicative of back to Kissinger-Nixon days for us vis-a-vis the United States. It is clear Trump is not happy with India's tough negotiations on trade deal, with dairy and genetically modified crops becoming a no-go area for the US trade team. This is clearly a case of the pincer, a test of India's resolve to practice strategic autonomy. We are in it together, the entire nation. Thanks for watching.
भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
This morning, 2 a.m. in Los Angeles, our firefighters were dispatched out to a traffic accident. On arrival, they found a large group of people standing outside of a club. There's a taco truck there, and apparently a vehicle had driven through the taco truck, through the valet, and into the crowd.
Oh yeah, he went to get the cars. Oh.
Ultimately, there ended up being a total of 30 patients. So out of those 30 patients, 7 of them were critical.
Can we see some move from the government in the first week of parliament session on removal of Justice Verma?
The signature is underway and it has crossed 100 already.
Impeachment motion against Justice Verma to be moved in Parliament. Rijuju says MPs have signed the motion for impeachment of Justice Yashwant Verma. All-party meeting concludes Pahalgam terror attack. Trump's ceasefire claims amongst issues flagged by the opposition. A small fight breaks out over seat in Mumbai local train that escalated into a full-blown language row when one woman told another to learn Marathi or get out. China provokes again, begins construction of $167 billion mega dam project on the river Brahmaputra. After Republic's massive coverage, India and Pakistan cricket match called off. WCL issues an apology. No end to Congress's abusive discourse. Party President Mallikarjun Kharge this time insults Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Today we're talking about an interesting event that occurred. Officially, the United States Department of State, which is their foreign ministry, has announced that the National Resistance Front is a terrorist organization. They have not named Pakistan. They have called it a sponsor of terrorism, a global terrorist organization. I'm told that the actual date of the statement was 2nd July, but it's been released 2 weeks later. It was at a time when our Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar,
from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
welcome. You're watching Republic TV with me, Akanksha Khajuria. Top of the hour, I'll get you details on the Marathi language row in Maharashtra. New posters have come up which are, in fact, asking people living in the state to learn Marathi or leave the state altogether. We'll give you more details on this. First up, the headlines. Encounter underway in Jammu and Kashmir's Kiswar. 2 senior Hizbul Mujahideen commanders trapped in the encounter.
Can we see some move from the government in the first week of parliament session on removal of Justice Verma?
The signature is underway and it has crossed 100 already.
Impeachment motion against Justice Verma to be moved in the parliament. Kiran Rijiju says MPs have signed the motion for impeachment. Small fight over seat in Mumbai local train has escalated into a full-blown language row. One woman tells the other, learn Marathi or get out. China provokes again, begins construction of $167 billion mega dam on Brahmaputra River. After Republic TV's massive coverage, India-Pakistan cricket match called off. WCL issues apology. And there's no end to Congress's abusive discourse. Party President Mallikarjun Kharge insults Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Well, a shocking incident has come to the fore from Mumbai in Maharashtra on Friday. A pet dog bit and injured a child while the owner sat laughing at him. The owner, Mohammad Sohail Hassan Khan, sat in the rickshaw with his dog while it kept biting the child, and he just sat there making fun of the child. And we'll show you visual of what happened in Mumbai. And after this incident, a case was registered at the Mankhurd police station, but the accused was let off after just serving a notice, and no arrest was made in this regard. So in fact, we are showing you the visuals that have come in from Mumbai. As you can see in the visual, while the dog bites this child, the owner there shamelessly laughing, and no arrest has been filed in this case. But look at that child who's crying, he's seeking help, but there the owner of that dog completely shamelessly laughing at the child. Well, there on your screen on the left-hand side, you can see when the dog is biting that child, that man that you can see on the screen, he's the owner of that dog. He's shamelessly laughing while that dog bites the child sitting in the rickshaw. And you can see the child is seeking help. He's crying for help, but this man there on the screen laughing at him while that dog bites. On the other hand side, what we're learning is that yesterday a protest was held at Jantar Mantar over the stray dog menace in the national capital. The protest was led by former Union Minister Vijay Goyal. There are a lot of BJP workers and the leaders there on the streets of the national capital. This was a huge protest that was done in Delhi to raise voice against the stray dog menace in the national capital. And not just this incident, but in the last 1 month, we have seen spate of incidents of street dogs biting the children. In maximum cases, children are bit by these dogs. In fact, if you go by the data, in 2024 alone, 48 people lost their life. 22 lakh such cases of dog bites have come to the fore, and 22 lakh is a huge number. And now the Bharatiya Janata Party, in fact, held a protest in the national capital yesterday, and they demanded the regulation as far as the stray dog menace is concerned.
सोलवा काट लेना चुकी दौड़ा लिया काट लेना सोलवा काट लेना काट चुकी दौड़ा लिया
And now shifting our focus, encounter between security forces and terrorists is currently underway in Kishtwar district of Jammu and Kashmir. We are learning that two senior Hizbul Mujahideen commander Riaz Ahmed and Mudassir Hussain are trapped in Kishtwar, and this encounter is currently underway. Those are the visuals that have come in from Kishtwar district where this encounter is currently underway. We are learning that both the men that we just named, one is Riaz Ahmed and Mudassir Hussain. These are the senior Hizbul Mujahideen commanders. They both had 10 lakh reward on their head, and they were in fact wanted by the Jammu and Kashmir police. Now the encounter is currently underway in Kishtwar. In fact, if we talk about them, these two terrorists that you can see on the screen, they were behind the killing of two BJP leaders, Anil and Ajit Parihar, for the father of MLA Kishtwar, Shagun Parihar, in 2018, and RSS activists in 2019. So these are the one behind the death of these two BJP leaders. Let me go across to my colleague Gursimran, who joins us live on the broadcast with more details. Gursimran, you've been tracking this story very closely. We're learning that the encounter is underway, and in fact, the photo of these two terrorists that we are showing, they are behind the killing of two BJP leaders. Give us more details on that as well.
Yes, Akansha, what we are picking up from the sources in the Jammu and Kashmir police as well as the Indian Army, that the two terrorists, the input they got were Riaz and Mudassir, both carrying 10 lakh each reward after the two drastic terror attacks that they have carried out. The first terror attack was in 2018 November when they killed Ajit and Anil Parihar, the two BJP leaders. The daughter of Anil Parihar is Shagun Parihar, the present MLA of the Bharatiya Janata Party from the Kishtwar constituency. They both were brutally killed in the evening of November. It was 2nd of November when they were brutally killed by the terrorists. And since then, the terrorists are at large. Then they carried out another killing of the RSS activist Chandrakant along with his PSO on 1st of April 2019. And since then, for the last 6 years, there were no whereabouts about these terrorists, Riaz and Mudassir, though they were believed to be accompanying Jahangir Sururi, who is the longest surviving terrorist. But yesterday, the information that the security forces got was regarding Riaz and Mudassir, after which the operation was launched. And we are told that in the Chirji area, in the upper Dachan Nagsani area, they were trapped by the security forces this afternoon. And as we speak, the operations are underway. This group, if we speak, has 3 terrorists of Hizbul Mujahideen that are local terrorists and are active. The rest, all the terrorists are Pakistani Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists. But with the elimination of these two, which the forces are really very hopeful, effectively the Hizbul Mujahideen will be defunct in Jammu and Kashmir, because Jahangir Sururi, the oldest surviving commander, is in his late 60s, and he is said to be effective. Other than the strategy making, he is not into the active operations. So now the security forces are trying to neutralize these two terrorists, Riaz and Mudassir, at an earliest, so that this Hizbul Mujahideen can be given a big jolt, like Jaish was given when its senior most commanders Jabbar alias Molvi was neutralized by the security forces last month, in the month of June, 25th of June, in the Dudu Basantgarh area, in an operation with the security forces.
Absolutely. So the encounter is underway, and those two terrorists that you can see on the screen, they are currently trapped. Thank you so much, Gursimran, and keep tracking those details for us. Now, shifting our focus, a key all-party meeting took place in the national capital just ahead of the monsoon session of the parliament, with central leadership and the opposition leaders in attendance. The key issues and strategies have also been chalked out. Here's a quick report.
The members of the ruling NDA and opposition parties gathered and attended the all-party meeting in the national capital ahead of the monsoon session of Parliament. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju chaired the all-party meeting along with Union Ministers Arjun Ram Meghwal and Rajya Sabha Leader of House JP Nadda.
शुरू होने से पहले ऑल पार्टी का फ्लोर लीडर्स का मीटिंग हुआ, बहुत ही सकारात्मक रहा है। सारे पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स ने अपने अपने पार्टीज़ के पोजीशन बताया और उनके मुद्दे जो इस सत्र में लाने का है उनको भी सामने में रखा है। सरकार की ओर से हम लोग ने सारा पॉइंट्स नोट किए हैं और हमने ये रिक्वेस्ट किया है कि सदन अच्छा से चले, इसके लिए पक्ष और विपक्ष मिल कर के हमको काम करना होगा, आपस में कोऑर्डिनेशन अच्छी तरह से रखना होगा।
From the Indie bloc, Congress MPs Jairam Ramesh, Pramod Tiwari, Gaurav Gogoi attended the meeting. Along with NCP SCP MP Supriya Sule, BJD MP Sasmit Patra to chalk out the strategy for the monsoon session of Parliament. The opposition parties are set to rake up the key issues, including Operation Sindoor, besides Trump's ceasefire claims.
पहलगांव पर जो आतंकवादी हमला हुआ और उसमें जिस तरह से अभी लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर साहब ने कहा को इंटेलिजेंस फेल्योर था, तो ये एक बहुत ही गंभीर मामला है और इस पर चर्चा होनी चाहिए। दूसरे, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर जब चल रहा था उस दौरान अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति ने ये कहा कि हमने ये बंद करवा दिया है युद्ध। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पर या पहलगांव की घटना पर दुनिया के किसी भी देश ने हमारा साथ नहीं दिया। असफल विदेश नीति आज तक हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में किसी भी सरकार की नहीं रही जो अब की है, इस पर चर्चा होना जरूरी है।
Congress MP Gaurav Gogoi said that his party will rake up the issue of Election Commission's special intensive revision exercise along with turmoil in Manipur.
चुनाव आयोग जिस प्रकार से विभिन्न राजनीतिक दलों के साथ वार्तालाप करने से भी हिचकिचा रहे हैं और स्पष्टीकरण नहीं दे रहे हैं, तो आने वाले जो राज्यों में जो चुनाव होंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं इसको लेकर भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण सवाल उठे हैं। और मणिपुर को लेकर आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा था कि कुछ ही महीनों में मणिपुर में शांति आएगी। 3 वर्ष, लगभग 2.5 वर्ष गुजर चुके हैं और शांति कहीं भी हम आते हुए नहीं देख पा रहे, तो शांति का वातावरण नहीं देख पा रहे, जिसको लेकर हम चिंतित हैं और हम आशा करेंगे एक सकारात्मक चर्चा आने वाले सत्र में।
Apart from Indie bloc, the opposition party BJD is all set to rake the law and order issue in the state of Odisha.
In the all-party meeting, the Biju Janata Dal has already raised several issues, but one of our primary issues would be the deteriorating law and order situation in the state of Odisha. There seems to be a complete collapse of law and order situation in the state of Odisha by the BJP government there. And there seems to be a day-to-day rise, an alarming rise of heinous crimes against women and girl children in the state of Odisha.
Meanwhile, Aam Aadmi Party's Sanjay Singh reiterated that Aam Aadmi Party is no longer part of Indie bloc and their alliance was only for the Lok Sabha elections.
देखिए, हम कई बार कह चुके हैं, उसको बार बार आप चाहती हैं मैं रिपीट करूं तो फिर दोहरा देता हूं। इंडिया गठबंधन लोकसभा चुनाव के लिए था, उसके बाद हरियाणा में, दिल्ली में, उपचुनाव में और अब बिहार में अकेले हम लोग लड़ रहे हैं।
Political parties are prepared and the agenda is set for the monsoon session. A fiery debate is likely in the parliament.
Now moving on, UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath showered flower petals on the devotees undertaking the Kawar Yatra in the state of UP. Here's a quick report.
As Kawad Yatris undertake the holy pilgrimage walk to collect Ganga Jal in the holy month of Shravan, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath welcomed the Hindu devotees. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath showered flower petals on the Kavadiyas, first by the helicopter, and later at the Meerut Muzaffarnagar road. Saharanpur Commissioner, DIG, DM and SSP joined the Chief Minister in showering flower petals on Hindu devotees from the chopper. Watch the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath welcoming, greeting and waving at the Kavadiyas.
इस अवसर पर हरिद्वार से पावन गंगा जल लेकर के आने वाले सभी शिव भक्तों का मैं हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा है कि बड़ी श्रद्धा भाव के साथ कावड़ लेकर के चल रहे शिव भक्त युवा हैं, बच्चे हैं, बुजुर्ग हैं, महिलाएं हैं। सामाजिक समता का उदाहरण प्रस्तुत करते हुए इस पूरे मार्ग पर श्रद्धा भक्ति के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। जो अपार श्रद्धा का भाव इन सभी श्रद्धालुओं के इस कठिन साधना और परिश्रम में देखने को मिल रहा है, इसका अभिनंदन होना चाहिए, इसे प्रोत्साहित करना चाहिए।
So far this year, more than 1 crore Shiv devotees have left for their respective destinations on the Kawad Yatra.
And with this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, we'll tell you about how China has provoked India again, begins construction of 167 billion mega dam on the Brahmaputra river. After Republic TV's massive coverage, India-Pakistan cricket match called off, WCL issues an apology. This and much more on the other side. Stay with us.
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च। भारत की अपनी दुकान, इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना।
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
This morning, 2 a.m. in Los Angeles, our firefighters were dispatched out to a traffic accident. On arrival, they found a large group of people standing outside of a club. There's a taco truck there, and apparently a vehicle had driven through the taco truck, through the valet, and into the crowd.
Oh yeah, he went to get the cards. Oh.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा जीरा सिप। भारत की अपनी दुकान, इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन
सफल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Today we're talking about an interesting event that occurred. Officially, the United States Department of State, which is their foreign ministry, has announced that the National Resistance Front is a terrorist organization. They have not named Pakistan. They have called it a sponsor of terrorism, a global terrorist organization. I'm told that the actual date of the statement was 2nd July, but it's been released 2 weeks later. It was at a time when our Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, was in the United States for a meeting of Quad foreign ministers. So the timing becomes very, very interesting. It means that there is collaboration and partnership between the security agencies of India and the United States. Now, as far as McDonald Trump, I refer to him affectionately, is concerned, I would urge you to read his...
She entered every Indian home as Tulsi, a daughter, a wife, a woman of strength. She became a household name across the country. But Smriti Irani ji's story did not stop at television. From the spotlight of the small screen to the corridors of power. Over the years, she has held some of the most significant portfolios in the government, from human resource development to textiles, women and child development. Her journey is not just about success. It's about grit, determination, transformation, and a deep commitment to public service.
सिर्फ इतना ही नहीं, जैसे भारत में हम कदम कदम पर भाषाओं को बदलते देखते हैं, लेकिन स्मृति ईरानी जी खुद अपने अंदर भारत को बसाती हैं, कई सारी भाषाओं को जानती हैं.
The lady who's inspired a generation, Smriti Irani ji, I welcome you on stage in conversation with Arnab Goswami.
स्मृति ईरानी जी नमस्कार, और हमारे इस राष्ट्रवादी समूह में आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आ जाने के लिए.
धन्यवाद.
और पिछली बार भी आप हमारे कैंपस में आई थी, बहुत जल्दी आपको जाना पड़ा था. आज आपको हमने इसलिए रोक रखा था क्योंकि कई लोग आपको सुनना चाहते हैं. हम चाहते थे कि आप स्पीच दें, मगर आपको लगता है कि संवाद बेटर होगा, तो आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट. और हमारे जितने लोग हैं स्ट्रीमिंग में देख रहे हैं, टेलीविज़न पर देख रहे हैं, और आपको नए अवतार पे भी आजकल टेलीविज़न पर देख रहे हैं, कई लोग लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू हर रिटर्न, और एक्चुअली इट्स हैपेंड एज द ओरिजिनल एंड ओनली तुलसी. सो बिग राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज टू यू फॉर दैट.
थैंक यू.
बिकॉज बहुत कम लोग हैं जो हु मैनेज देयर प्रोफेशनल लाइफ इन पॉलिटिक्स एंड आउटसाइड एज वेल. आई थिंक दैट्स ग्रेट. स्मृति जी, आज इस मुद्दे पे रहते हैं राष्ट्रवाद, और हमने इन द स्टार्ट
I'm wondering, Arnab, why you wearing that badge? I'm a nationalist.
ये मुझे दीपक
You are a walking, talking badge yourself. You don't need a different identifier to tell the country and the world that you're a nationalist.
I know, but you know, I was talking आज earlier today कि nationalism को इतना बुरा word बनाया गया था. It was made into a bad word. तो we should wear nationalism on our sleeve. We should tell people we are nationalist. यानी कि हमको डिफेंसिव नहीं होना चाहिए इस पर.
I think it's become a political slur because of certain attacks that have been mounted. And people need to recognize that this is not a war cry. It is a wake-up call for every Indian. आज के भारत में और 10-15 साल पहले के भारत में एक फ़र्क है. आज का भारत वो है जो हर शख्स जो बोल नहीं पाता उसकी आवाज़ बनना चाहता है, उसकी आवाज़ उठाना चाहता है. आज का भारत है कि जो दिखाई नहीं देता था उसको एक प्लेटफॉर्म दिलवाना चाहता है. आज का भारत वो है कि जिसके थाल में रोटी का टुकड़ा नहीं, वो भरपेट खाकर सो ले, इस मानसिकता वाला भारत है. पहला एक भारत हमने वो भी देखा कि नेता ने कुछ कहा तो वही परम सत्य हो गया. आज का भारत वो है जो हर दिन अपने लोकतंत्र को टेस्ट करता है कि क्या वो साधारण नागरिक जो भारत और भारत के प्रति भूमिका को या भारत के प्रति आस्था को व्यक्त करता है, वो क्या लोकतांत्रिक संवैधानिक पदों पर बैठे कुछ चुनिंदा लोगों से या सबसे सवाल कर सकता है और क्या उस सवाल का जवाब मिलता है. सो डेमोक्रेसी इज टेस्टेड इन टुडेज भारत and I'm very proud that I have seen democracy deliver also in today's Bharat.
And you have been in politics for a long time now.
2.5 decades now.
2.5 decades. Your first parliamentary election in 2003.
2004.
2004, yes. So, Smriti ji, is the change only in politics or in society?
I think the change is dual.
How much of it is because of the Modi government coming in?
Politicians are being held more and more accountable with the advent of technology. I think technology has democratized how democracy is viewed, how democracy creates new perspectives, and how democracy is held responsible.
No, I meant that how much of the change we see in society, of which nationalist collective is a reflection, how much of it is because of the political change of the BJP or the Narendra Modi government in particular coming to power in 2014, and how much of it is social?
Given my 2.5 decades in politics, I have seen Atal Bihari Vajpayee as Prime Minister of our country. And for the first time, Atal Bihari Vajpayee made Bijli Sadak Pani the conditions on which people of this country should judge the politician that they vote for. Before that, most of the issues were mostly emotional. Narendra Modi made performance politics the very foundation and basis of how the citizen can hold their government or leadership accountable. And if you remember in 2014, for the first time, Digital India came to the surface and Narendra Modi made digital governance a political reality. Before that, most of our laws, most of our policies, in fact all of it, and most of our political discourse was being held by the elite few in the power corridors of Delhi. Narendra Modi democratized it by even proffering a platform like MyGov, by becoming the first Prime Minister digitally available to his citizens to say, you have an opinion, let's make your opinion count.
So I'll tell you what happened is in 2016, 2015, 2016, I don't remember, एक वीडियो आई हमारे पास और उस वीडियो में JNU में स्टूडेंट्स कह रहे थे भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशाअल्लाह इंशाअल्लाह, और फिर एक कुछ और दो, एक बार और मार दो, एंड ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ स्लोगन्स वर गोइंग ऑन. हमने वीडियो देखी और हमने जब इसको दिखाया पत्रकारों में, इन आवर जर्नलिस्ट कम्युनिटी, दे सेड ओह दिस इज नॉर्मल, दिस हैपेंस एवरी डे, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम. सो आई रिमेंबर आई कॉल्ड दी सेम पीपल, विमल जी, वो जो हमारे वो जो अभी जिनके खिलाफ केस चल रहा है, क्या नाम है उनका, वो कई सारे केसेस चल रहे हैं अभी, सेडिशन के केसेस चल रहे हैं. दे केम टू, हाँ, उमर खालिद, हाँ उमर खालिद, और वो मेरे प्रोग्राम में आए, टाइम्स नाउ में था, और उन्होंने दे जस्टिफाइड इट. उन्होंने कहा दिस इज फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन एंड इट इज नॉर्मल, और नॉर्मलाइज हो चुकी थी. जो आपने
याद नहीं होगा अर्नब जी, आप एडिटर थे, मैं आपके कार्यक्रम में एक शाम
आप आई थी
जब सीआरपीएफ के 70 से ज्यादा जवानों को मौत के घाट उतारा गया था नक्सलियों द्वारा, और तब भी यूपीए के कार्यकाल में इस बात को रैशनलाइज किया गया था कि वर्दी पहनते हैं तो इनको स्वीकार्य है कि ये मरेंगे, शहादत देंगे, और वो
नॉर्मलाइज हो गई थी. और अरुंधति रॉय कहती थी कि जो माओवादी है ये गांधीयंस विद गन्स है. इनकी पूरी एक इंटेलेक्चुअल जस्टिफिकेशन हो गई थी. और बाकी लोग, जितने लोग हैं इस ऑडियंस में, जितने लोग राष्ट्रवादी है, जिन्होंने आज नेशनलिस्ट कलेक्टिव का बैच पहना है, बहुत लोग उस समय चुप रहा करते थे, बिकॉज माना जाता था कि इन इंटेलेक्चुअल, कोट अनकोट इंटेलेक्चुअल था नहीं, इन इंटेलेक्चुअल उलझनों में मत पड़ो, नौकरी करो, सीधी सादी जिंदगी निभाओ, पॉलिटिक्स में मत घुसो, सामाजिक इश्यूज पर ज़्यादा मत बोलो, जब तक. और फिर चेंज आ गई क्योंकि हैशटैग का ज़माना आ गया था. उस समय हमने एक हैशटैग मैंने बनाई जो आजकल काफ़ी पॉपुलराइज हो गए, प्रधानमंत्री जी भी उसका यूज़ करते हैं, टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग. तो मैंने इनको देखा और कहा कि टुकड़े टुकड़े, भारत तेरे टुकड़े. तो मैंने बोला टुकड़े टुकड़े, और मैंने गैंग कहा क्योंकि इनको तो सोसाइटी या ग्रुप या कलेक्टिव नहीं कहा जाता, ये एक माफिया की तरह ऑपरेट करते हैं, ये टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग है. मैं अमेज्ड हूँ स्मृति जी, वो हैशटैग कैसे आज तक कॉमन पार्लेंस में आ गई है. सवाल है, आपको क्यों लगता है कि ये चेंज क्यों आई? क्या ये पॉलिटिकल चेंज थी, क्या दबी हुई आवाज़ थी लोगों की?
नहीं, क्योंकि
जो
आप एक
टेक ऑफ पॉइंट पे आ
आप
गए।
एक प्रतिबिंब बन गए नेशनलिस्ट, हर कोने से, हर प्लेटफॉर्म से फिर अनअपोलोजेटिकली बोलने लगे। आप जब कहते हैं टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग, तो कई लोगों को लगता है कि हैशटैग है। अब मैं देश की शिक्षा मंत्री रह चुकी हूँ, तो कुछ रियलिटी से आपको मुखातिब कराना चाहती हूँ। आपने कहा क्यों दबे रहते थे लोग, क्यों अपनी आवाज़ नहीं उठाते थे। अगर वो साधारण से शिक्षक हैं और उनको अगर आगे बढ़ना है अपनी एकेडमिक स्ट्रक्चर में, तो जब तक वो इस गैंग का हिस्सा नहीं बनते, गैंग के अधीन नहीं होते, तो वो कभी भी ना नौकरी पाते थे ना प्रमोशन पाते थे। तो कुछ लोगों को वो इकोनॉमिकली इतना कंपेल करते थे कि अगर तुम्हें नौकरी में आगे बढ़ना है तो गैंग का हिस्सा होना पड़ेगा, या गैंग जो कहेगा वो करना पड़ेगा।
अच्छा।
और गैंग अगर तुम्हारे फेवर में नहीं है तो तुम्हारी आर्थिक जीवन में या सामाजिक जीवन
अलग अलग चुनौतियां लगा दी, यानी कि आपको बॉयकॉट कर देंगे, बैनिश कर देंगे, आप आउटकास्ट कर देंगे।
देखिए अर्नब जी, बहुत आसान होता है जो प्रिविलेज घरानों से हैं, जिनके बाप दादा पैसे छोड़ गए, कि वो एक व्यू रखें। जिसको हर दिन अपनी रोजी रोटी कमानी होती है, जिसको अपने परिवार का आर्थिक संरक्षण करना होता है, उस व्यक्ति के लिए वो परीक्षा की घड़ी हो जाती है कि मैं परिवार का संरक्षण करूं या राष्ट्रहित में कहीं किसी विवाद में पड़ूं।
बहुत पावरफुल लॉबी है ये,
बिल्कुल,
बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग लॉबी है,
इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं होती।
इसमें राहुल बाबा का भी हाथ है।
देखिए,
जिनको आपने बाय द वे, आई एम क्वाइट श्योर पॉलिटिकल सवाल तो पूछूंगा ही। राष्ट्रवादी मंच है, न्यूज का मंच भी है, आप अमेठी वापस आएंगे कि नहीं?
बात कहूँ, आप ये सवाल मुझसे सालों साल से पूछते आ रहे हैं।
मैं नहीं पूछ रहा, आप लोग नहीं पूछ रहे ये सवाल।
वो तो तालियां बजा रहे हैं, सवाल आप पूछ रहे हैं।
अगली बार स्वीट रिवेंज होगी कि नहीं होगी?
मैं दर्शक जितने यहाँ बैठे हैं, आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट सभी वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स हैं।
जी,
सबकी कहीं ना कहीं नौकरियां हैं। अगर आप लगातार अपनी नौकरी में 11 साल से ढंग से काम ना कर पाए तो क्या आपकी नौकरी रहेगी? उनकी है, इतना पावरफुल उनका इकोसिस्टम है।
नहीं, आप नौकरी लेने वाले हैं कि नहीं अगली बार? सवाल ये
नहीं, मैं आपको बड़ा गंभीर एक मुद्दा बता।
नहीं, मैं सीरियस सवाल
वो कैसे सर्वाइव।
ये वायरल मोमेंट है, आपको कहना पड़ेगा, आपको कमिटमेंट देनी पड़ेगी।
आप और मैं मंच पे आते हैं, वही वायरल मोमेंट है। और अगर आपको ग्लोबल वायरल मोमेंट बनाना है तो आप में और मध्य में मिस्टर गांधी हो जाएं तो फिर
गांधी जी के साथ में, ये राहुल बाबा के साथ 2014 में मैं बैठा था, तो मैं तो चुप रहा पूरे इंटरव्यू।
मैं तो ये जानना चाहती हूँ कि पीछे से इशारे कौन कर रहा था, कि क्या
इशारों की जरूरत नहीं है, वो अपने आप को इशारा करते हैं, वही एक इशारा है। वो तो कहते हैं मैं जिस दिन मैं जन्म, जो व्यक्ति, ऐसे मैं मुद्दे से अलग जा रहा हूं,
आप मुद्दे से भटक गए।
जो व्यक्ति कहता है भारत, नहीं, इस मुद्दे पर
मैं उसी मुद्दे पे,
नहीं, उन्होंने दो बातें कही है। उन्होंने कही है,
आप इतना भावुक है राहुल जी के बारे में,
मैंने भावुक नहीं हूँ, मैं कह रहा हूँ कि उन्होंने कहा जिस दिन मेरा जन्म हुआ, हमारा जन्म किसी घर में होता है, किसी, है ना, किसी कम्युनिटी समाज में होती है। वो कहते हैं जिस दिन मेरा जन्म हुआ, मैं सिस्टम में जन्म हुई है मेरी। मैं समझ नहीं पाया, वो कहते जिस दिन मैं जन्म हुई है, मैं तब से सिस्टम में हूँ। ये कौन सी विचित्र सिस्टम है?
नहीं, लेकिन अर्नब जी, इसको हल्के में नहीं लेना चाहिए।
मैं नहीं लेता।
मैं इसलिए कह रही हूँ, हम सब यहाँ मजाक में हंस रहे हैं। आप सोचिए एक व्यक्ति का विश्वास कितना अडिग होगा कि उसको पता है कि वही सिस्टम है। ये कोई हल्की बात नहीं है। और उस व्यक्ति को ये पता इसलिए है क्योंकि बार बार सिस्टम ने उसे प्रमाण दिया कि हाँ तुम ही हो। उस व्यक्ति को एक दिन भी संघर्ष नहीं करना पड़ा। वो व्यक्ति आज भी अडिग है। आप भले ही कहें कि 16 में बोला भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे, कोई भी राजनेता क्या किसी यूनिवर्सिटी में जाकर ये बोलकर राजनीति फिर किसी देश में कर सकता है?
नहीं, उन्होंने कहा कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी में जाकर कहा कि इंडिया इज नॉट अ नेशन, वॉज नेवर अ नेशन, विल नेवर बी अ नेशन। ना भारत कभी राष्ट्र था, ना है, ना रहेगा।
तो अगर नहीं
ये इनकी फॉर्मल स्टेटमेंट।
क्यों लड़ते हैं वो?
देखिए, सोच देखिए, वो कहते हैं भारत यूरोपियन यूनियन की तरह है। मुझे ये जो मोहब्बत की दुकान की डेंजरस थिंकिंग है, आई रियली फाइंड इट वेरी डेंजरस।
एक और उसका भाग पूछती हूँ, वो लोग कौन है कि ये सब जानते हुए भी फिर भी उनको वोट दे रहे हैं?
आप बताइए, आप लड़ चुके हैं उनके खिलाफ।
आपको ये भी सोचना चाहिए 140 करोड़ के देश में वो कौन है जो जानते हैं कि वो चाहते हैं भारत के टुकड़े हों फिर भी वोट देते हैं? वो कौन है जो जानते हैं कि ये कहते हैं विदेश में जाकर कि भारत एक राष्ट्र नहीं है फिर भी उनको वोट देते हैं? वो कौन है जो जानते हैं कि ये व्यक्ति कहता है ये लोकतंत्र नहीं है, सिस्टम है और मैं सिस्टम हूँ, फिर भी उनको वोट देते हैं? चिंता का विषय मात्र ये व्यक्ति, उनका परिवार, उनकी राजनीतिक पार्टी नहीं, वो लोग भी हैं जो इनकी कहीं ना कहीं काबिलियत पर विश्वास करते हैं। क्योंकि अगर काबिलियत का कहीं उदाहरण देना है तो उन्होंने उदाहरण क्या दिया है कि यूनिवर्सिटी में जाकर बोलना टुकड़े होंगे।
देखिए, जोड़ तोड़ की राजनीति तो पॉलिटिशियंस करते हैं। मुझे लगता है सबसे बड़ी चैलेंज देश में है जातिवाद, और दूसरी बड़ी चैलेंज है रिलीजियस और एनी कम्युनिटी अपीसमेंट, तुष्टिकरण की राजनीति। ये दो सबसे डेंजरस ट्रेंड्स हैं। क्या आपको लगता है स्मृति जी, कभी कभी हम बैठकर भारत की उन्नति देखकर, जीडीपी ग्रोथ, पर कैपिटा, विकसित भारत की बात करते हैं, मगर जो फ्यूचर जनरेशन्स के लिए भारत कैसा रहेगा? विल वी रिमेन यूनाइटेड? व्हाट कीप्स अस यूनाइटेड? हमको मतलब एकजुट रहने की एक डेली प्रयास करनी होगी। क्योंकि मैं आपको फ्रैंक बात कह रहा हूँ, मैं आसाम से हूँ। आसाम की डेमोग्राफी बर्बाद हो चुकी है, आपको पता ही है। आसाम में बांग्लादेश सराउंडिंग सारे एरियाज़, आजकल वहाँ पे डेमोग्राफिक शिफ्ट इतनी हो गई है कि जो लोकल एसएमईज़ है वो रह नहीं पा रहे हैं। जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट से मैं आता हूँ वो अभी 75% मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन वाली डिस्ट्रिक्ट बन चुकी है। ये मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन ऑर्गेनिक ग्रोथ नहीं है, बांग्लादेशियों की ग्रोथ है, और टेक ओवर हो चुके हैं वहाँ पे। आज आप आसामी बोलेंगे तो आपको टारगेट किया जाएगा, और अगर आप वहाँ पे तिरंगा लहराने की कोशिश करेंगे, कई जगह है जहाँ पे वो अलाउड नहीं है, कई जगह है जहाँ पे कहा जाता है कि शुक्रवार को छुट्टी होनी चाहिए। देखिए, द फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज़ दिस, दैट आवर यूनिटी इज ऑलवेज अंडर थ्रेट। क्या हम अपनी यूनिटी को टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड रखते हैं? एनसीआर में बैठ के, मुंबई में बैठ के हमें लगता है
very cognizant of 2-3 facts, Arnab. And here I'll give a disclaimer. My own nani is from Dhubri, and Kokrajhar and Dhubri, you know, have been under such severe distress even during partition and post-partition also for many years. Was subjected to many violent riots.
Right.
And then also on the basis of religion, many Hindu families had to go through many challenges, and families who are worried about the physical safety of the women and children in their families.
मैं एक इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ। जिस जगह की बात हम अभी कर रहे हैं वो बहुत दूर नहीं है उस एरिया से जिसके बारे में सरजील इमाम ने चिकन स्नैक की बात कही थी।
धुबरी और कोकराझार के
आसपास, उससे थोड़ी 100-200 किलोमीटर दूर, दैट एरिया इज।
तो मेरा परिवार, मेरी नानी का परिवार आज भी वहाँ पर है। मुझे लगता है कि आपको समझना होगा, आज से 11 साल पहले जब हम फ्रेजाइल 5 का हिस्सा थे, तब कोई भी आकर थपथपाकर पीठ या सर के ऊपर थपथपाकर कहता था नाइस पीपल इंडिया। सडनली आप चौथी सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था हो गए हैं, तो जो हीन भावना से ग्रस्त होता था आज वो सर ऊंचा उठा के चल रहा है, और वो जो चौथी पायदान पर है वो अभी संतोष नहीं कर रहा, वो भारतीय कह रहा है ऊपर 3 की पायदानों पर भी मुझे अपने देश को ले जाना है। डू यू थिंक द टॉप 3 विल बी सडनली अग्रीएबल एंड फ्रेंडली?
आप ग्लोबली जाते हैं, आपको क्या लगता है कि अभी कंपटीशन ग्लोबली ज्यादा होने वाला है? Would we have become a threat to many countries?
You had officers here who have served with distinction across not only services but also defense establishment with regards to weaponry and the whole digital army background, and those conversations have already happened on your platform. My issue is this: do you think we'll have more friends as we push our way forward to the topmost economy of the world?
I don't think so at all. I think we'll have a lot of challenges.
They will not want us as equals on their tables.
No, they will push us.
They will want us to be subjugated.
Yeah.
And they cannot withstand that Indian who will look them in the eye and say, I will do what is best for India. In that, I don't care who says what and tries to divide us how. What is hurtful is that while a majority of our citizenry is trying to climb that ladder to international success, there are those elements who want to push us down and say, अरे झगड़ो, भाषा पे झगड़ो, जाति के आधार पे झगड़ो, प्रदेश के आधार पर झगड़ो। सोचिए, जब दुश्मन सरहद पर है तब कौन पूछता है सिपाही से तुम कौन सी भाषा बोलते हो, कौन सी जाति है तुम्हारी, कौन से प्रदेश से हो? उसने भारतीय सेना की यूनिफॉर्म पहनी है, वो जानता है उसे ना सत्ता मिलेगी ना किसी की सेवा मिलेगी, मर गया तो तिरंगे में लिपट कर घर लौटेंगे और फिर मेडल मिलने के बाद सब भूल जाएंगे। फिर भी वो खड़ा है आज। तो और कुछ नहीं, कम से कम इतनी लज्जा हो, इतनी शर्म हो हम में कि उसके लिए हम संगठित रहें।
आप जब 2003 से अब तक देखते हैं, 22 सालों में नेशनलिज्म शब्द की एक्सेप्टेंस इसकी यूज या इसकी तरफ चेंज या झुकाव कुछ आपने
उसमें
देखा है?
बहुत बड़ा योगदान आपका है, आप इसको स्वीकार नहीं करेंगे,
थैंक यू,
लेकिन अनअबैशेडली आप उसके लिए खुद बहुत भुगत चुके हैं, आपका योगदान उसमें है। आपने पूछा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के नेतृत्व में अनअबैशेडली उन्होंने तब भी भारत को डिफेंड किया जब मनमोहन सिंह जी की सरकार थी। मनमोहन सिंह जी पर तोहमत लगाते थे, ताना कसते थे दुश्मन देश भी और सो कॉल्ड फ्रेंडली कंट्रीज भी, और नरेंद्र मोदी तब भी भले ही भाजपा में थे, गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री थे, लेकिन राष्ट्र के प्रधानमंत्री की तौहीन नहीं होनी चाहिए, ये उन्होंने मुखरता से हर मंच से कहा था। तो मुझे लगता है नरेंद्र मोदी का नेतृत्व, जिस प्रकार से धड़ल्ले से अमित शाह ने धारा 370 जब हटा रहे थे संसद में बात की, वो देश ने देखा। हमारे इतिहास में कितनी बार साधारण नागरिक ने संसद की कार्रवाई को बैठकर देखा होगा? देखा। आपने एक मेरी क्लिप चलाई, एक मेरी स्पीच का यहाँ पर अंश दिखाया, वो बहुत सारे बच्चे आके मुझे बताते हैं लास्ट व्हेन वाज सच स्पीचेस वॉच्ड, पीपल आर वॉचिंग बिकॉज दे नो दिस इज एन एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ देयर ओन फीलिंग टुवर्ड्स देयर कंट्री. सो आई थिंक दैट यू एज समबडी फ्रॉम मीडिया, people in politics who stood up and spoke for India, people overseas who speak in support of India, they know we are not a civilization that tries to edge anybody out of a conversation. We know how to grow together. We know how to
but
walk
there is
together.
ultra regionalism हो रही है अभी.
आग दिखाओगे तो जवाब देने का
एक तरफ ऑपरेशन सिंदूर और उस समय की जो फीलिंग, और एक तरफ राज ठाकरे पकड़ पकड़ के जो हिंदी बोलते हैं, हिंदी भाषी लोग हैं, उनको मारते हैं, उनको वीडियो बनाते हैं और कहते हैं दिखाओ, तुम्हें तुम्हारी जगह दिखा दी, तुम्हें तुम्हारा हमने अपनी पोजीशन दिखा दी. इधर कमल हसन और स्टालिन और बाकी लीडर्स कहते हैं साउथ इंडिया वर्सेस नॉर्थ इंडिया. ये छोटी बातें नहीं है. लिंग्विस्टिक डिवाइड, अल्ट्रा रीजनलिज्म, ये दीज आर थ्रेट्स वी हैव टू फाइट. वी हैव टू फर्स्ट एक्सेप्ट कि ये हो रहा है हमारे देश में और इसके साथ कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं.
There is nobody who does not accept it. There is a recognition that there is a deliberate attempt to divide, to create fissures. So I think that you have to give credit to people who are watching you today, who are here in this room. These people who are sitting in this room, they recognize the threat and they are here, they are a part of this collective. And there are many who are watching you. The fact that your number grows, Arnab, in itself is an indication. People know of the threat that you're trying to flag. And by watching you, by coming to these conversations, they are saying we as citizens stand by people like you. Speak. Be unafraid for those who are unheard, who can't speak, who are unseen.
The biggest threat I feel is to be quiet. The biggest threat in our country is to be quiet, to play safe. और कोई कोर्ट कचहरी के चक्कर में नहीं जाता है. स्मृति जी, हमारी nobody wants to pick up a fight.
देखिए, you cannot hold a grudge against that ordinary citizen जो genuinely कोर्ट कचहरी के चक्कर नहीं काटना चाहता.
So what can somebody do?
जो genuinely झगड़े में नहीं पड़ना चाहता.
कोई कौन क्या ऑप्शन क्या है बताइए.
जो नेशनलिस्ट है वो हर दिन तलवार की धार पे चलता है, क्योंकि उसको काम पर जाकर भी ताना सुनना पड़ता है, घर में भी सुनना पड़ता है, और भगवान ना करे अगर वो विपक्षीय किसी राज्य में है तो कहीं ना कहीं उसके खिलाफ